spooky and ASMR. Hello, 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 and welcome back subscribing. That was it. I guess they just weren't messing around back then, which I personally think that if your crimes are heinous enough, if there's enough evidence that without a doubt you committed these crimes and they are heinous, I think next day, period, done. A lot of these terrible people sit on death row for years, and I'm not saying like everybody gets a fast track there. No, I'm saying if your crimes are at a certain degree, like Ted Bundy, if you are Ted Bundy and you, without a doubt, killed all these people, fast track, next day, done. I just don't think they should be able to sit on death row for 30 plus years or so. But anyway, I know this video was quite short, but it is our first time sitting back in front of each other. In comparison to other videos, I think we were just overdue for a quick video. This is Whisper Week, so both true crimes will be whispered. I would like to remind you also, I don't usually do this, but I just released a video on Ted Bundy that is 2.5 hours long. This video took me so long to do. I started it a week before it was released, like a week and a half, and I basically recorded audio for 4 days. But I wanted to cover that case from start to finish. I wanted every single crevice of that case to be touched, and that was probably the grossest way that I could have said that. Anyway, I really wanted to give you a complete video on that case. There was so much that occurred, and Ted Bundy he is